In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how this brand, Everyday Dose, is crushing it with their meta ads and building ads that can support hundreds of thousands of dollars in ad spend. And I'm actually going to be breaking down step by step, scene by scene, and show you how you can do the exact same thing so you can walk away from this video today with an ad framework that you can apply to your own brand to start seeing better performance from your meta ads. And I guarantee that if you apply what I'm about to tell you in this video today, you will have a higher chance of finding winning ad creatives for your meta ads, which is the biggest bottleneck that I see e-commerce brands face when they're trying to scale their meta ads. It is ad creative quality and volume. So before we dive into the video, just want to show you some proof that I'm qualified to speak on the topic of growing e-commerce brands and getting results for e-commerce brands. One of our clients, as you can see here, last couple of years, $16.8 million in revenue. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into it. So the brand is Everyday Dose. This brand is doing $20.5 million every single year. They get 1.6 million monthly visits, and they sell this mushroom coffee. Now, there's a lot of different mushroom coffee brands out there. Everyday Dose is one of the ones that is crushing it, and they're doing a lot of things right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is actually break down this ad creative step by step that I put together for you guys. I've gone through one of their winning ads, I've analyzed this in excruciating detail, and I've put all the different frames and scenes on this Figma doc so we can actually go through each of the different elements of this framework and break it down for you, okay? So let's start with the framework. Now, a framework is basically a structure of an ad that is proven to work, okay? So this framework is how I went from this to this, and on my channel before, I've gone through different ad frameworks. If you want the link to the ad framework, just comment down below. I'm happy to send it over to you. But as you can see here, we have multiple different frameworks we use in my agency, all proven to work. And what this means is that when it comes to actually building ad creatives and coming up with ideas and writing scripts, if you have a proven framework that's already working and you have the different elements that make up that framework as we're about to go through here, then it becomes much, much easier to not only create those ads, but also more likely to find winners, okay? So let's go through this. And what I'm actually gonna do is actually pull up this ad, we're gonna watch it end to end, and then we're gonna go through scene by scene to break down each of these individual elements inside the framework.
It took me about 2 weeks to get this, and it actually wasn't because of a new workout routine or gut supplement. It was actually this coffee. I remember how bloated I would get after a meal, and it just made me feel super self-conscious, so I'd wear a big t-shirt to try to hide it. But since switching out my coffee to Everyday Dose, not only has my bloating and digestion been so calm and consistent, I was seeing a ton of other benefits too. My skin, hair, and nails were actually much healthier and smoother, which I have to credit to the collagen protein that's added in here. My sleep and energy regulation was also much more stable thanks to the L-theanine. And last but not least, my usual scatterbrain could actually focus for once. The functional mushrooms in this magical blend are amazing at boosting cognitive function over time, and I can really see the results after just a few weeks. Not only does it make a really good tasting cup of coffee, but I know it's made with powerful ingredients that nurture your body from the inside out. Get on Everyday Dose's coffee. It only costs $1 a cup, and if you don't see the difference after 45 days, they'll give you your money back.
Okay, so this is the ad end to end. 50 seconds long. It's a decent length of ad, and it's enough time for us to actually work through education. And the first thing I want to start on is this hook. Now, the hook is so powerful, and this is the reason why the framework is how I went from this to this, because the hook starts from a before and after, right? It's basically, it took me 2 weeks to go from this to this, right? So this is the before and after. One of the most powerful ways of advertising and marketing is before and after. It's showing current state and desired state, right? By the way, if you're a new viewer here, my name is Jordan Hayes. I actually run a marketing agency where we help e-commerce brands scale their revenue profitably. Now, if you're running an e-commerce brand, you're doing over 100K per month in revenue, and you're facing challenges with scale, maybe your ads or your funnel is not working as well as it used to or should be, or even if it's just a lack of time and resource to put into scaling this part of the business, then that's exactly what we help with. So down below this video, there'll be a link to book a call with me. We'll have a conversation about your business, learn more about the challenges, your objectives, and see if there's a fit for us to work together. Worst case scenario, I can provide some insights as we're seeing with our other clients to help you at your current stage of your business. And as I mentioned, this is for brands who are doing at least 100K per month in revenue, and they need help with scaling and obviously want to scale profitably. And in the way in which we help brands scale is we provide services across both customer acquisition and customer retention, done for you services which are completely hands-off. We take care of everything for you, and that includes media buying, CRO, landing pages, ad creative, email marketing, SMS marketing, overall growth strategy, lifetime value optimization, all that stuff, okay? So with that said, let's get back to the video. The next thing I want to touch on is sexual companionship. Now, if you look at the Life Force 8 core desires, these are 8 hardwired desires that we have as humans. All humans have these desires. And the more you can touch on these in your ads, the better. The more likely you are to take someone from their current state to buying your product, because the in-between, by using their core desire and tying that to your product and the solution and the outcome, is what's going to be so powerful, okay? So the most powerful of these 8 is sexual companionship, okay? And this brand is using this in the hook. As we can see here in the hook, of course, like looking good and not being bloated is something that is going to help you, with sexual companionship, right? So that is what this brand is doing very well. And then we have the whole structure of this hook is desired outcome with a short time delay without needing to use the failed solution, or without having to input a lot of effort and sacrifice. And this whole structure of the hook actually mimics Alex Hormozi's offer equation, right? We have the dream outcome, we have the perceived likelihood of achievement, and then we also have the decrease in time delay and the decrease in effort and sacrifice, because it says,
it took me about 2 weeks to get this, and it actually wasn't because of a new workout routine or gut supplement.
Right, it actually wasn't because of a new workout routine or gut supplement. So those are like the effort and sacrifice that we're saying it's not because of this and this. So next, they introduced the solution, right? So if we just jump back to the ad, we can see
It was actually this coffee.
it was actually this coffee, right? And what this does is it creates an open curiosity loop, right? We're introducing the coffee, but then what's happening is we're changing the scene and we're kind of like a backstory, right?
I remember how bloated.
Right, so now we're going into what I've called the agitate the problem. This is really how we're using this first person story to meet the customer, meet the person who's watching this ad where they're at, right? We want to make them feel understood. We don't just want to like cut to the product introduction here and go through the benefits and the features and all that and, you know, offer and all that stuff. We actually want to like build a little bit more trust and understanding with our user, right? We want to reason with them and show them that we understand, right? And the way we do this is, I remember how bloated I'd get after a meal, right? Something that our customer will actually be facing right now.
Bloated I would get after a meal, and it just made me feel super.
And I was super self-conscious, right? You tie it back to an emotional pain point. So you have the real life problem, you have the B-roll backing that up, right? Everything is backing up. And then self-conscious, right? The consequence of the problem, right? Because the problem isn't really the bloating, right? The problem is that it makes you feel super self-conscious, right? That's really what we're aiming towards. So you really want to drill down to what is the emotional pain point that we're trying to go after, because that is what's gonna, you know, people, they buy with emotion and they justify with logic, right? So we need to tap into those emotional pain points if we're going to get these ads that are going to support hundreds of thousands of dollars in ad spend, right? The B-roll also continues to back this up.
Self-conscious, so I'd wear a big t-shirt to try to hide it.
Right, and then like a big t-shirt to try to hide it is likely what other people are doing, likely what our users are doing. So again, we are making them feel understood, right? Now we are introducing the product.
But since switching out my coffee to everyday dose, not only has my...
So we're introducing the product, but we're also introducing it as a solution to the problem. And the B-roll, again, backs that up by showing the product, but also like creating movement. It's not just a product or like an image of the product. As we see here, we're creating movement.
Bloating and digestion been so calm and consistent.
Right, we're going back to bloating, digestion, like that initial hook, that problem, we are linking it back when we're introducing the product, right? So it's important that you always continuously link back the product and the solution back to the outcome that the customer desires. And just a quick one here before we actually continue through this ad, I want to show you something that we do at my company Haze when analyzing ads. When we test these creatives, what we do with these videos is we look at, of course, our ROAS and CPA, the North Star metric. We look at the hook rate, right? We look at the hold rate, but also the engagement and the drop-off chart. And this is really where the source comes in, right? Because when you're looking at these engagement graphs and you can see steep drop-offs, you can actually go back to the ad. You can go back to the specific time of the ad and you can compare that to the hold rate, right? If that steep drop-off is also in line with a weak hold rate at that kind of point in the video, then you can go back to that and you can actually change that scene. So let's just say hypothetically, this brand ran this ad and they said, well, actually, this ad is performing well, but you know, when we get to the product intro, we're losing a lot of people. Maybe we're introducing the product too soon, right? That's a hypothesis. And what you can do there is maybe you need to go deeper into agitating the problem, right? More like go deeper, find more ways that we can resonate with the customer on how they're feeling on things that they've tried, right? Failed solutions, right? How can we get deeper into that emotional state? And that could be a way for us to increase the retention when we do introduce the product just after that, okay? So that's just a way that we like to think of it. And this is really where, you know, the iteration process comes in, because you're not gonna be able to produce an ad, launch it, and it wins straight off the bat. Yes, there'll be cases you're able to do that, but in most cases, realistically, you need to go through a process of iteration, right? So you need to test, you gather data, you do that data analysis that we just went through, and then you create iterations based on the hypothesis, right? So with that hypothesis I just mentioned as an example, we'd create an iteration on that, and then we would test that, and we would actually see, like going back to that same stage of the video, did it actually work in terms of retaining more viewers and increasing engagement? But not only that, the most important metric of all, does it actually help with our performance and is it conducive to our goals, right? That is really what we're aiming towards right here. But another thing is scale, right? It might get the same performance, but it might also be able to support more scale because it has a deeper structure to that, okay? So let's jump back to the ad and continue watching, continue going through this.
And I was seeing a ton of other benefits too. My skin, hair, and nails were actually...
Okay, additional benefits. Now we're introducing benefits that are beyond just the fixing the bloating, which is the hook of the video. Okay, so we're talking about hair, skin, hair, nails. Notice how the B-roll is congruent here.
Much healthier and smoother, which I have to credit to the collagen.
Okay, and we're linking it back to an ingredient in the product, right? Benefits, additional benefits beyond the main problem solved. And again, as I mentioned, we tie this back to an ingredient in the product. So this doubles as product education, right? We're not only introducing benefits, which are like additional bonuses to using this product, which, you know, are great, like cherry on top, right? We're not only solving the main problem, but it's also helping with this, this, and this, but we're tying it back to the product itself, and it also doubles as product education as a result, okay?
Protein that's added in here. My sleep and energy regulation was also...
Okay, more benefits. The thing that I'm do here is like stable sleep and energy. I would actually show her sleeping, and then I'll actually show her maybe doing yoga and working out, right? Just to be congruent with the sleep and energy that we have here.
Much more stable thanks to the L-theanine. And last but not least, my usual scatterbrain could actually focus for once. The functional mushrooms...
And every time we introduce ingredients and benefits, we're tying it. And every time we talk about benefits, we're tying it back to specific ingredients inside the product.
...in this magical blend are amazing at boosting...
Okay, so here when we're talking about the different ingredients combined together in the blend, this is more the unique mechanism, right? This is how the product is different. And the formulation of the ingredients decommoditizes the product from other solutions. And this is really, really key, because what customers are going to do when they watch these ads and when they start researching your product is they're going to look on Amazon for alternatives, right? They're just going to do that. And they're also going to look at, you know, Reddit forums, like they're going to do some research and see, you know, is there another product out here that's the same quality, but maybe it's cheaper, right? Or maybe I can get it faster. So that's just something you want to keep in mind. And the way to combat this is a unique mechanism of the product. And of course, you can also do social proof and authority and, you know, just completely dispel other options, which is, you know, other ways you can do that in direct response marketing. However, unique mechanism is a very powerful way to do that. You want to decommoditize yourself. The offer, again, is also another one. Alex Mosley talks about this, is the offer structure itself, combined the packaging, all that stuff decommoditizes you from, you know, other products, which especially in this, you know, if you look at this brand, Mushroom Coffee is super competitive market, right? And this brand obviously does a great job at decommoditizing.
Cognitive function over time, and I can really see the results after just a few weeks.
Right, tie it back to the time delay for results, right? Just a few weeks. Being congruent with the hook itself.
Not only does it make a really good tasting cup of coffee, but I know it's made with powerful...
Right, more features, more benefits.
...ingredients that nurture your body from the inside out. Get on everyday doses.
Okay, now we're getting into the offer itself.
It only costs $1 a cup.
Right, and if you just go back here, just look at the notes. Future pacing, of course, like noticing results of a few weeks. We saw the mirror shot, right? Future pacing results in time frame, likelihood of achieving desired out, and short time delay as we went through. The offer has a price breakdown per day, which is very smart. It's psychological pricing. It's not saying you have to spend $30. It's $1 per cup or $1 per day. We're breaking down into easy to consume parts for the customer.
And if you don't see the difference after 45 days, they'll give you your money back.
Okay, now we have the risk reversal. If you don't see the difference after 45 days, money back guarantee if you don't see the difference. So this is really the ad end to end. And what you can do as homework, as a action step from this video, is go back through this ad, watch this video again. Each of these different components of this framework are elements, right? Elements combined together in a specific structure is the framework, okay? So I want you to go back through this video, make note of the different elements in this framework, and then translate that to your brand and product. You might want to change some things depending on what you're selling, but ideally, you know, the gist of this is that you don't need to follow this verbatim, right? You don't need to follow it exact step by step. Yeah, it would be smart to do so because it's already proven, but you can change a few things, right? Think of all these individual elements, right? These components as ingredients to baking a cake or creating a recipe, right? You can create the same outcome, same dish, but you can use different ingredients. You can use more of one and less of another. You can completely miss out an ingredient, but still get the same outcome of dish or meal or cake, right? Might just be a different flavor, might be a different size, etc., right? This is really the gist of what we're getting at. And as I've shown you here, you know, this process of iteration is really the key, but also the data analysis. The data analysis really allows you to learn, and learning is a huge part of this creative optimization cycle, where it's a flywheel. Every time you go through that process of creating an ad, testing the ad, analyzing the ad, coming up with a hypothesis to create an iteration, that is a cycle. You go through that again and again and again and again. Then you get winning ads, you use those winning ads to create more winning ads, etc., etc. And what is happening is that your win ratio, right, the percentage of ads that actually become winners of the ones that you test, increases, right? So you become more efficient at producing ads, and you save money, you save time, but you can also increase your ad spend consistently month over month, and don't have feast or famine months where, you know, one month you're able to scale because you found one ad that's crushing it, and then the next month that ad stops working, and now, you know, you don't have any other ads to, you know, carry the account, right? This is really what we're trying to combat here, because this is a problem that a lot of e-commerce brands face, and it is really a bottleneck to scaling. So there's really what I want to show you today. Just, you know, going through some of the things about how do you actually save money on producing content, because content can be very cost heavy. Now, if we look at some of the other ads that they have here.
This is why I want my money back from...
All right, AI voiceovers. Right, and I'm going to show you how to actually do this in just a moment.
Everyday dose. The bundle includes all of this. 30
Right, so it's B-roll with AI voiceover. Now, if we just go to this tab right here, this is what we do for our clients, right? Option A is you pay a content creator every single time. You pay $150 to $300 per video, in some cases even more. You edit and launch that creative. And the other option, which is a lot more cost effective, is you use existing B-roll that you already have, right? If you're doing multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, you have a bunch of content already, right? You can use existing B-roll that you already have from creators. You can do some talking heads. And what you can do is you can use the AI voiceover with the B-roll to create new ad creatives, right? The script, you build the script the same way, but you just put it through 11 Labs, right? We use 11 Labs, which is a tool, very cost effective, but it allows you to create these AI voiceovers. And you can actually create, like this one is obviously like more robotic voice, and it works pretty well. It performs pretty well, but you can also use more realistic voices. So you don't even have to use like this AI robotic voice, right? With 11 Labs, that is. And then what you do is you have all these individual clips in it. So as I mentioned, you take the AI voiceover and the B-roll, you combine that together to create an ad, and the cost per ad creative actually goes down. And you can also test new scripts. Let's just say you find one that works with AI voiceover. Now maybe that's a better idea to actually go to a content creator, pay them the $200 per video to create that, to see if you can, scale horizontally with that ad. You can create the same ad script and framework with just different creators, different AI voiceovers, different types of B-roll, right? That's just another way to scale. And if you really want to take your content and creative production to the next level, then you can invest in Air.inc. This is what we use for all of our clients. We actually build Air.inc databases for our clients, because what it allows us to do is like Google Drive on steroids, where you can actually tag individual elements, right? So basically, if we go back to these individual elements, we actually get the content creator to upload individual clips, right? So rather than them recording a full video of like talking to the camera, we get them to say, okay, this is the hook script, record this and this and this as individual clips and upload them to this drive folder. Then when we have all the content in the drive folder, we export it, and we have our team actually take all those individual clips that we have, all these individual elements, save them, tag them, and what that does is it makes it faster for us to find clips in the future when we're going through this process that I just took you through, right? When we're using the existing B-roll, you have it, but it's scattered across different folders. You don't know where anything is. It's a mess, right? That is the problem that we see, and that's why we have the system in place for our clients. But yeah, that's really what I want to share in this video. If you want someone to implement all this for you, really handle your ad creative, your media buying, help you scale your brand, this is exactly what my company Haze does. We do this for our clients. We help brands scale to 8 figures and beyond. And if that's something you're interested in, there'll be a link below this video. You can check us out. You can book a call with me. We'll have a chat about your business, understand current challenges, and see if there's a fit for us to work together. If there's not, we will leave you in a better place than we found you by giving you some insights specifically as to what I would do in your shoes with your brand. All right, that is it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video.